Everybody, welcome back to When Words Fail Music Speaks podcast, the podcast where we help, where we fight depression with the power of music. I'm sorry, I'm so excited today to talk to this gentleman here with you. But first, let me introduce him. My guest, Lee Isaacs, is an independent rock artist who has chosen authenticity over labels and purpose over predictability. He's a guitarist, songwriter, and creator who approaches music as a safe place for honesty, emotion, and real connection, not just the sound, but meaning. In an industry that often pushes artists into boxes, he's carved his own path, using music as a way to process life, express truth, and stay grounded in who he is. Lee, welcome, brother. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, James. Thank you for those kind words.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, did that sound okay? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounded great.
I thought it sounded
wonderful
awesome
introduction.
too. Yeah. So, first of all, welcome to the show. I do want to thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't get back with you when I got your pod match request.
Yeah,
So
no,
we'll
it's all
apologize
good.
for that. Okay, yeah, because sometimes
all
I don't answer right away, but I try to,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you are in Nashville, correct?
Yes, sir. I am.
Okay. So I am planning a big trip to Nashville sometime this year. Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to know from you is, since you've lived there, how many years?
About 4.5 now.
So you know
Yeah.
the ins and outs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is some good places for you go to music and food? Because I heard there's I think it's called Country Row, where there's nothing but like bars playing music. Is that true?
Yeah. It's down on Broadway, which is right
Okay.
in the heart of downtown. And I mean, it's 3, 4 story bars every other building. It's a bar and then it's a boot barn, basically, every
Right.
other store. But it's pretty cool. I mean, they have each floor's got another band playing, and it's remarkable because surprisingly, they don't drown each other out. Like if you go from one to the next, you're not hearing an overlap. So I don't know how they do the acoustics in those buildings, but it really is incredible. You have a lot of good music going on down there.
Right.
Broadway, you're going to hear a lot of good cover bands. And then if you want some more original music, I would go to Midtown. That's where I used to live and used to play and still do sometimes. A lot of bars over there. Places like Live Oak and Tin Roof there and Odie's. I mean, they got some really good live music places over there.
Yeah.
In terms of food, everybody always asks me about hot chicken. They always
Oh,
talk about
okay. Okay. Yeah.
the Nashville chicken. My personal favorite, it's called McDougal's. And
Okay.
everybody, I have to remind, it's not McDonald's,
No.
but it's
Right.
you
It's
know,
McDougal's.
it's
Yeah.
it sounds familiar. McDougal. It's a place right past where Midtown is, not far from the Gulch area.
Mm.
And they have the best sweet tea you'll ever have. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great chicken place. So that's my personal favorite. Hattie B's is another good one. That's a good thing about Nashville. You're never going to be short on a good bar with live music and
Right. Yes.
good chicken.
That's what I. Yeah. Because I haven't had a vacation in 2 years. I'm like, I really want to go to Nashville. And my mom says, you got to go. You just got to
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
You
for
know.
sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I hear a lot of good things about their barbecue. Do you agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
I live not too far from a place called Edley's,
Yeah.
and it is an incredible barbecue place. I think I had an aunt that came here a couple months ago, and she looked it up, and she's like, "Yeah, it's the number one rated place." And I was like, "Yeah, it should
It
be. I mean,
is.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah."
Yeah. Because
So,
everybody and their mother down south, of course, always compares barbecue to each other's. I'm like,
oh yeah,
which one do I? Because there's
right.
Carolina barbecue, which is great. Texas barbecue, which is I never had it, but I heard it's great. Everybody has a
Yeah.
great barbecue, but I'm like, hey, it's too many to choose from.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
No, there
Who
is a lot
knows?
of choices.
Yeah, good choices too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have been listening to your music pretty much all day today, right?
Well, thank you.
And the songs that I found most that I really resonate to the most is Runaway Romeo from After the Apocalypse. It's out on everywhere you get music. So everybody tune in. And Spell on Me, that's out after the apocalypse too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those songs from that. There's a lot more out. There's a lot more songs, but those two from that album just does something to me that I can't can't put into words.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I wrote those probably about Runaway Romeo was right around COVID. And I remember it's one of those instances where I wrote the whole thing in one sitting. It
mm,
just flowed out, and it was fascinating because for me it was kind of a story that was really ambiguous. There's
okay.
a beginning and an ending, and then I've had songwriters that have worked with some big names and just people in general that have asked me, they said, well, is it is it a story about like these three attempts, like, failed attempts at love with these three different girls, or is
Yeah.
it the same story about this one girl told from three different perspectives? And I was like, well, what do you think?
Right.
Because
Yeah. You told
yeah,
me. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always just felt like it could really go either way, and it's one that when I wrote it, I wanted to write a good story, and it really came up from out of nowhere. I've never really been able to describe very well where it came from or really what it's about because whenever I listen to it, I could almost see it going multiple directions. So that's one that yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of, and
Yeah.
we got a great sound on it. And then Spell on Me, surprisingly.
Dude, that is the most awesome intro ever. I can't. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the intro to death. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I was in the studio recording a different song, and I had some of the same lyrics as you hear in the song, and it wasn't working. I was just like, well, this isn't coming together well, and I thought, well, maybe I need to rewrite it a little bit. So I rewrote it as Spell on Me. The title was taken from the show Freaks and Geeks,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
from, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene in that show where Bussy Phillips is um, telling another character about how they were talking about Fleetwood Mac, and she was like, "Yeah, Stevie Nicks apparently put like a love spell on Lindsey Buckingham," and I don't know why that was in my head. I guess I'd just seen that episode like a day or two before, but I thought "Spell on Me," like I thought that was a really cool title, so
Yeah.
we used that, and yeah, it came out great. I was really glad with that one as well.
There's two songs that I like. There's Born Out of This Time album.
Yeah,
And it released, I think, last year, didn't it? 2024,
24,
2024.
yeah,
Yeah.
so a year and a half ago. Mhm.
Right, which is long time, but it still rocks, because Born Out of This Time did that title track, and I Had the Storm, man, yeah, those
Yeah.
did it to me too.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, that Born Out of This Time, I remember I had that song back in college years ago, and I was rewriting it constantly. It was kind of like right around the time COVID happened, and there was this sense of like where is everything going? What's
Yeah,
going to happen in the next year, and a lot of uncertainty with people, and so I was constantly rewriting verses and thinking, how could I make like a positive message in this time of, this grim cloud that kind of hung over everybody. So that was my attempt to try and brighten spirits a little bit and be
yeah,
like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this.
right.
And I mean, I had the riff and everything, and I just kept playing the chords over and over. And I thought, man, this is unique. And I would show it to people. I'd show it to my friends, and they would go, that's pretty good. And um, when I went in the studio with it, I was determined to have like layers of guitars and see how big and epic we could make this track. And I had a good producer, John Howard, who helped me make it into this masterpiece. I mean, it was really, I think it was one of the best results from start to finish. Seeing
Yeah,
how it started out when we started recording it to the final master track, I was really pleased with that one. And then Eye of the Storm, man, that's I have some friends that tell me that's their favorite.
yeah,
It's a bit of a fan favorite. I made a music video for it back in 24 around the time that the album came out, and that was a fun one to make, and I had quite a few friends that came along and wanted to be in it. So yeah, that's one that I typically play live a lot. I mean, I play all these songs live, but that's one that
right. Yeah,
people always
yeah,
love to hear.
yeah. I guess one of the many famous perks of being friends with the musician is you get to be in the the movies or music video or whatever, which is always
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure, man.
But the one that really spoke to me the most is your most recent one, and it's Take Me Back to Lexington.
Yes, sir.
I live in Lexington, South Carolina, so I thought, yes, you made, and I'm like, oh man, Lexington, Kentucky,
Kentucky. Yeah.
which is great, because so okay, so let me ask you this: can you tell us about the song just a little bit, and what genre do you feel you're in? Because a lot of your albums on Apple Music and I'm sure for Spotify say that you're rock, which is fair,
Hmm.
but Take Me Back to Lexington then says you're country, right? So
Yeah.
are you like transitioning to country, or you still have that rock and roll mentality too?
Well, I think I've always had that rock and roll mentality.
Yeah.
That's the first genre of music that I really wanted to play when I became a musician, or at least started playing guitar and got pretty serious about it. Um, I've always liked country music. It's
Yeah.
something that I was around a lot as a kid, and growing up. I remember in high school that I had a lot of friends and was around a lot of people that liked listening to it, and especially since moving here to Nashville. I mean, a lot of people, there's a stigma that it's all country, which is not true. There's a great
No.
rock scene here
There's a
and
whole
pop scene,
yeah.
and there's a lot going on. But you do kind of get ripples of the country music around you, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of emotion and raw feeling in country music, and with this song specifically, I mean, I was driving back from Lexington one day, actually. I still go back there. I had a brother that just graduated from college there last year, and I try to go back for, a couple football and basketball games every year to my alma mater, UK, and I still have friends that live there. There was a producer that has a studio there that I recorded in when I was in college. So I try to, get back there a few times a year at least. And I was driving back to Nashville from Lexington one day, and I thought, man, it'd be pretty cool if I made a song kind of because that's a root for me. I'm from
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky originally, but that was certainly my home for a few years, Lexington, and I thought it'd be nice if I paid, homage to that a little bit, and so I wrote this song that I thought, well, what kind of embodies what that town's like, but also, what the state of Kentucky is, because that's where I lived all my life
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
got to Nashville, and so. And yeah, I guess the country aspect was a little bit more in my mind in that moment, driving down some back roads and seeing the gorgeous scenery there, down
Right.
Bluegrass Parkway. Um, so yeah, I mean that was one that was really just paying tribute to not only Kentucky and Lexington, but UK, which is like my team and everything. So
Right. Yeah.
that was me going back a little bit.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't want to say I'm the exact opposite, but I understand. Like, I love rock and roll to all my heart and soul, but country's where it's at for me. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
reverse of where you are, which is fine,
yeah.
back in high school I used to do nothing but rock and roll.
Oh
Megadeth,
yeah.
Metallica, and drove my mom insane with all those. And
Especially when you play it loud and yeah.
yes, exactly. And in later life, I went back to my country roots because that's what the raised us on beginning. What was at the very beginning before I even went to high school.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so high school kids corrupted me with all the metal bands, and it's like, oh. But my mom's glad I'm back in country music now.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
A little bit easier to play around the house with
Little
people
yes,
there. Yeah.
little bit yes, sir, yes. But I love you the most right now because not only are you an artist and a songwriter, you're a businessman. So you opened up your own radio label called.
L-
You're gonna have to help me with this because I
Yeah, it's
yeah.
okay. It's called the Radical. Yeah.
The Radical, yes. LLC,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, the Radical
Yeah,
LLC. Yeah.
yeah.
When I got into making music a few years back, I knew that I would have to learn a lot about kind of the business aspect of it, the business end, because at the time I wasn't a signed artist.
Right.
I'm still an independent artist, which is
Yeah.
nice. And I feel like a lot of people are in that camp as well. They kind of like to be able to have complete control over what kind of music they make, what their schedule looks like, and timetable for releasing music. And there's all kinds of aspects that you can get into. And so I did a bunch of research and I discovered that I thought, well, it'd be kind of nice if I had my own publishing entity because,
Yeah.
ownership of music is a huge thing in business. It's a huge financial tool to have. You see a lot of artists like Paul McCartney, for example, and this is going back a little bit, but he at one point bought Buddy Holly's catalog, so he has helped promote that a lot, and it's a financial gain on his part. And for the Buddy Holly family. So it's kind of nice to be able to have the rights to your own catalog, especially. And that was what I wanted to do, especially since I didn't have a label that was backing me at the time.
Right.
So I figured out that it was probably best if I started my own publishing entity, and that's what The Radical became. And it's been nice. It's been a pretty good learning tool to have in life, because a lot of people think about starting their own business or company, and some may never get there, or some never quite grasp all that comes with it. But it really has been a great thing in life to help me grow and teach me a little bit about the ethics of everything in the business world, but also just a good. It's nice to be able to have full control over my catalog.
It
That
is.
that's
Yeah.
something that I'm grateful for.
And that was what was my next question. So you do everything yourself. You release it whenever you want to. You make it whenever you want to. You don't have any dates. You can. Everything's you.
Right.
So what? Okay, so you have your own independent record label, which is awesome. Okay, but I know there are some setbacks. Okay, so what? What? Okay, so I always tell this to people. Yes, it's good not signing with a big company because you can do what you want, right?
Hmm.
But on
Yep.
the other side is big record labels handle the promos, uh, everything, social media aspect.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
social media aspect and the promotions really difficult, or or are you having like the easy time doing it yourself because you know what you want to do with your own record label?
Yeah, it is nice to have that freedom. I do
Okay.
like being able to choose how I promote it, when I put my music out, and uh, it could get tricky if you had a label
Yeah.
telling you, when to do all that. The greatest thing a label is for, though, is promotion
Right.
because they will get your music out there and expose it to a wide variety of audiences and mass production and all that stuff. So it is nice to have that backing. Doing it yourself, it can get tricky because you want to consistently put stuff out, not just music, but content on social media. You want to constantly be promoting the work that you've done, new and old. I mean, everybody kind of thinks of the new stuff, but if you're an artist that doesn't have as big of a following as someone that's been to the Grammys, then you do have to constantly promote the stuff that you did 4 or 5 years ago, and be like, oh yeah, this is all that I have to offer, and I've done this and I've done that, and um, it's nice when people can look at Spotify, say for example, and they see, oh, these are the top 10 songs that have been streamed the most, or this is what people like, and there might be a song in there that you put out 4 or 5 years ago, and all of a sudden they're able to discover old albums or singles that you've done. So that is nice. In terms of promoting myself, I try to be consistent with it. It's in this day and age,
Yeah.
it's probably best if I was going to say advice on it is to find somebody that is really good about timetables for it and a good schedule, and not just that, but content that would really reach people. Because I mean, always performing your songs is always great, but it's nice to have a little bit of someone that can chime in with creative ideas and pays attention to what's trending and all that kind of stuff. I've worked with some businesses in the past that they've had people strictly hired on their payroll for social media, and that's
Yeah.
their job,
Right.
is to try and come up with how can we advertise what we're trying to sell to people as best we can. So, uh, Yeah, it's fascinating always trying to come up with something basically to get people's attention and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, look at me," you know?
Right. Yeah. Uh, I can relate with that too because I'm just starting this as a business, so I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing at the same time, and that makes sense. So it's for every musician out there doing it.
Right, yeah,
Kind of not
exactly.
sure what to do, but you're doing it anyway because
Yeah.
So I've been yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Where do I want to go? I don't know. It's hard, but it's easy at the same time if you have people backing you, which you do and I do as well. So
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
easier. But a lot of people give up at the very beginning because they think that it's hard and it's going to be hard forever. You know?
Yeah. No,
It,
you get comfortable
yeah.
with it. You
Yeah.
do kind of ease into it. And I noticed like when I first started to promote myself, because you do promote yourself as much as you do your
Yes.
brand.
Yes.
I at first, kind of would stick to very maybe not specific, but there's a lot of stuff I was like, well, I want to focus on the music and I want to focus on the next gig I'm playing or whatever. It took a while, but eventually, became easy to be vulnerable and really kind of show a more personal side of yourself. I think that's something that the more you do it, the easier it comes, the more people get comfortable with it. Um, and then there's some people that, they're so comfortable with it, though they can almost make fun of themselves when they're talking about stuff that they're doing or whatever. And
Right.
yeah, it's something that does get better for anybody that is maybe a little nervous at first starting out. It's something you do become not just more comfortable with, but you become better at as time goes on.
Right. Um, Before people knew who Lee Isaacs was and the band, who were you emotionally before music, and what was the music giving back to you that nothing else could before you started your music journey?
Yeah, I mean, before all this, I was a guy that liked to have a good time, liked to be with my friends, liked to be surrounded by, good people, and I really just kind of lived, I think, a lot for the moment. I have some of my best friends in life. It's not like a thing that we've really talked about much, but just from observing them, I've been able to tell that, they're people that like to live to the fullest and see all that there is in life out there. And that can mean many things, whether it's traveling or, spending a lot of your money on, going out on the weekends or whatever. I mean, it really is just in terms of surrounding yourself with a great group of people that like to make memories and, have a wonderful life.
Yeah,
I think that's what I did a lot. I mean, when I was in college, I played guitar and I jammed with friends but I didn't really play out much. And I would record in my free time. Like I said, I found, a studio that I could record at and learn a little bit about the basics of how to record in the studio. But I really kind of just, focused on being a student at the time and ha having fun with my friends. I mean, I was kind of just taking life, one step at a time in a sense. Nowadays, I mean, once you kind of get to a point where you're trying to promote yourself and your work, you're kind of thinking, how 10, 12, 15 steps ahead.
right.
So
Yeah,
um
yeah,
so yeah, it had to grow up a little bit, but in terms of my musical journey, I mean, I've been I started taking piano lessons when I was like 8, and my mom got me into it. And at first, I didn't understand, the point of it. It seemed like a cool thing to do in terms of, oh, this. I guess now they refer to it as like a party trick or whatever. But it was like a nice talent to
right.
have.
Yeah,
Like if you're
yeah,
around people and
right.
it's like, oh, I can play this song. But it wasn't really until I was 12 that I really got into music. It was when I started to listen to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and a lot of old Bob Dylan and a lot of older artists. And then as the years went on, you graduate in a sense to Bruce Springsteen and you kind of
Yeah,
work your way up. As a kid, I remember my dad would play Queen and Led Zeppelin in the car. And then there was also the music coming out at the time. It's been 20 years now, but I remember when, American Idiot came out by Green Day, and I
yeah.
remember listening to that in the car on the way to school every day. My dad loved to play Holiday, and
Mm.
uh, I remember when like Viva La Vida by Coldplay came out, and now people consider it, a classic. And it's like, man, back then it
Right.
was
Back then it
fresh
was
and it was
brand new, right? Yeah.
right. And it still sounded amazing. And so I've always kind of listened to music as it's come out, as well as been attuned to listening to older generations and stuff my parents listened to and even their parents listened to.
Yeah.
I've always loved the idea that, I haven't stuck with one genre or style. I can find beauty in almost anything, which sounds a little
Yeah.
cliche, but I mean,
But it's
there's a lot
true.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of great music out there. And so, it was kind of basic at first. It was really just me picking up a guitar and wanting to find out where can I go with this. I was always a writer. I used to love to write short stories and try to write, books and novels and things like that. And even before I was ever a musician. So, uh, songwriting almost came a little easier to me. I mean, it took me years to get to a point where I felt like the stuff I was writing was not only great enough to showcase to other people, but it was good enough to maybe, go toe to toe with somebody else that I was listening to that was writing their own material. When I moved to Nashville after I graduated college, uh, you meet a lot of songwriters and a lot of people that have the same dream that you do, and everybody's trying to, gather people's attention and get people to listen to their stuff, not just once or twice, but become fans in a sense and retain that audience. So uh, you really, I've seen people where they focus a little too much on the competitive aspect of it. They're trying to outdo everybody else, which I don't. I think competition in music it's a good thing in that it can inspire you and it can help drive you to maybe make some of your own best work. But I think overall, you shouldn't really focus on that. I don't think that's something that's as important to maybe outdo somebody else or try to say I can do better than what the person that was on stage in front of me just did. I think it's best to focus on yourself and what you're trying to do, and otherwise the music can suffer. The performance can suffer. Uh, I go out there and I have my ideas and I say, well, I'm gonna follow this and see where it takes me. And usually it's taken me to some pretty great places.
Yeah.
So I
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm still you're just getting started touring everywhere now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've played it feels like all across America. Like I
Yeah.
remember the first time I was booked to play in Vegas and I played at the Wynn Hotel there on the Strip and it was really cool. Like it was really just for like a private event, but the event was like 400 or 500 people, and I was just kind of hired for the evening, and then after that, all of a sudden you're seeing celebrities walk through the lobby and the casinos and all that, and next thing I know, I was asked to play at Mandalay Bay like the next month, and so whenever there's a good opportunity, you're always
Oh
grateful, you're
yeah.
always happy,
Yeah.
when somebody in LA or San Diego texts you and says or calls you and says, "Hey, we'd like to, there's an opportunity out here or wherever." I mean, I'm grateful to always have it because Nashville's great and I do love playing here, but it's always nice to expand your horizons a little bit and reach
Right.
other audiences. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know what you made me think when you said classic songs? Okay,
yeah,
so I'm 46 right now. 40 more years, I'll be 80 something, right? I
right.
cannot wait for to be in the car listening to the oldie station, and they're like, "All right, guys, let's creep in." That's my. I'm like, "Oh, you gotta be," it's like, how
Yeah,
long ever have I been alive?
right.
Because
Yeah,
now kids now are calling my music old, and I'm like, that was like 40 years ago, man. I don't know what the classic is,
right. Yeah.
and you just said that Coldplay has some good classics. I'm like, damn, I am old,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Jesus,
it's funny how it works because like right now there's a big trend going around on social media about 2016 because everybody's like,
yeah,
oh, it's been 10 years. So what was it like
yeah,
10 years ago? And I was like,
yeah,
man, 10 years ago I was in high school and
right,
I remember the music coming out and everything, but it's funny to think like some of that stuff really is like a classic now. Like I remember when Views by Drake came out, that
yes,
album, and it
great
was
album, yeah,
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 yeah, in that same time frame, and it was like everybody talked about it before it came out, and then once it came out, it was played a lot, like Hotline Bling and those songs, and
right,
and it is funny to see. I guess it is a younger generation, but it's like people, kids that are, like 14, 15 going, oh man, that's, if they refer to that kind of stuff as a classic, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
in my mind, it's like, man, it really wasn't that long
Right, it
ago.
wasn't that long ago, but it did. It's like, holy crap, you're
Yeah.
that a whole, because there's a thing on TikTok that these two girls are, what you were born. Oh, I was born in 2006, right? And she
Yeah.
asked her sister, and she said, I was born in 1919. Like, like it was a bad thing to be born in 1990 something, because she was
Right.
born in 20s, I don't know. It's just weird,
Yeah.
but
It is weird. Yeah.
but
I mean, I think,
with each generation, you either get really great music and really bad music, and I think we're right
oh
in the
yeah.
middle, because there's
Hmm.
good music now. There's also bad music now, and flip flop. It's
Oh
always
yeah.
weird generation to generation.
Yeah. And it's funny what gets picked up as I mean, famous or what really goes viral in the
Yeah,
sense that, you'll be hearing this song that it's played everywhere and it's like, wow, it might be good. It might be one that, you probably wouldn't think twice about, but everybody
right.
else seems to be liking it,
Yeah,
and it's like,
which is why are you
is there
listening?
something I'm missing?
Right,
Right.
exactly. You're like, well, what am I doing wrong here? So,
Right. Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about you playing live and the stuff behind it. Okay, so
Yeah.
fans only see the confidence on stage, because I'm sure
Hmm.
you have a lot of confidence. All bands have a lot of confidence, right? But when you're back behind the stage, what is that? What is the stuff that you struggle with that fans don't see backstage or at home,
Right.
because I know you go through struggles too, just like I do, a
Oh,
fan,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's a natural human instinct to get nervous before an event like that. Now, even if you've done it thousands of times, if it's something that's regular for you, your body just naturally reacts that way. I mean, you thinking that you're getting ready to go on, whether it's in front of 25 people or it's in front of 2,000,
yeah,
it can be daunting,
right,
and it always is that way. I mean, you get over it pretty quick. Usually by the second song,
yeah,
you're fully in your flow and you're ready to go and you're rocking and rolling. But those first few minutes, it can be a little bit of a
little
sense of like
hinted,
easing into it. Yeah, a
yeah,
little contentious. So that's always there. I've had friends that have played a lot around Nashville that they like I have one friend that he said his thing was always to have like a drink or two before he went on stage just to loosen him up and calm his nerves. And I have some
yeah,
that they say like, oh, I count to 10 or something, and by the time I'm at 10, my mind's at ease, I'm relaxed. I mean, or they do breathing exercises, especially for singers. That's a good recommendation. So there's always tips you can use and tricks. For me, yeah, going into it, I mean, I love playing on stage. I love get that feel of the audience getting into it, and that it is a raw energy when you're playing good music, and you've got a good band backing you. So I think once you're on and you're going, you're in a steady flow, and it becomes easier, especially as time goes on, um, and you can really grasp into the energy that's coming from the crowd. And it's that's the great thing about music is when you go to see it live, there's a certain vibration in the room that everybody's feeling it. Everybody's in on the vibe. And I love that once I'm out there, and then of course afterwards, you feel this great sense of joy and happiness, and
right.
everybody's pretty nice. I mean, the band's all satisfied and feels at ease, and then you'll have fans come up and talk to you afterwards, and if it was a good show, then they'll tell you how much they love it. I fortunately haven't had um, a bad one in a long time to where anybody was complaining, but
Oh, that's
um,
always good, that's always
yeah,
positive, because you don't want
right,
fans
yeah,
that actually you did this wrong, it's like, what are you
right,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And you talk about internal struggles. There's times where, say, you might have played a certain song and you didn't feel that you maybe did as well as you normally would. You felt maybe something was off. You weren't singing quite as well. You might have messed up on a guitar solo somewhere or something. And then it's funny, you'll be talking to people afterwards and they'll be like, I never even noticed. You know what I mean?
right,
Like they
yeah.
they didn't even see it. You were just so in the zone, and you were the music was flowing so well
Mm.
that it was like, man, no one could tell. So
Right. Yeah.
that's always a good thing too. I think a good important thing to remember is not to be too critical of yourself. I mean, I'm my own harshest critic.
Right.
If you look at a lot of great artists like John Lennon, for example, he was, his own harshest critic. He was the Beatles' harshest critic, and some. I think in a sense, when you're the one that's making the music and playing it, you've almost got the best right to be able to critique it because
Yes.
you're
Yes,
thinking about it from the sense of, yeah, of like
right.
not only this is how it should sound, but this is my original intention, and this is actually what came out. So yeah, it's always important not to be so hard on yourself,
Right.
because sometimes you've done the best you can, and that's all that matters.
Right. A follow up question for that because this is great. Did you ever feel pressure to be okay when you weren't okay, or like were you always 100% yes? Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had times where I didn't feel quite so comfortable about the situation. Like one of the first times I got on stage here in Nashville, I was a friend of mine texted me. It was kind of last second. They said there's a spot open playing at this bar that doesn't even exist anymore. And they said, we can get you in for a couple songs. And I said, okay, great. And I was in bed, like it was kind of
Oh
later in the
no!
night, and yeah, and I
Oh,
was I
what's a
was
bit
like.
last minute, right?
Right, really last minute, and I was like kind of tired, and I thought, man, I thought about it, and I was like, well, I can't pass this up. I mean, I had just moved here not too much longer before, and this was a good opportunity for me, and I knew, and as soon as I got there, I saw it was a packed house and everything. So,
Yeah.
it was one of those situations that it didn't actually go very well. The songs that I was playing, the band didn't quite know them, and it just didn't sound as good as I thought,
Yeah.
and I was down on myself, really upset afterwards because I'm thinking, well, here was a great opportunity to showcase my
Yeah.
work because it was original songs to people that hadn't heard me or seen me before, and
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was playing my best work out there, and wasn't the best version of myself,
Yeah.
and for people that are just getting introduced to you, that's not a good first impression. So it was like, well, I got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
something my dad always kind of preaches about and taught me at a young
So,
age.
so what you did was you learned a valuable lesson about that little hiccup that you had that one
Mhm.
night, and that's perfect, because we're always learning something. We always got
Yeah.
to try to get better, and yeah, and I guess that was the perfect thing for you to go through for the next time that may or may not happen, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, the biggest gig I ever did was I was invited to open for Flo Rida at a festival
Oh,
outside of,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
first music festival. I mean, first time opening for a name like that, and it's funny because his music very different from mine, and
Right
I
for
was a
me, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was I was really curious how that was gonna play out.
Right.
And
Right.
I got there, and I mean backstage you're looking out and there's thousands of people out there, and I was doing jumping jacks. I was so anxious, and my manager was, trying to talk me through it. You,
Yeah.
you got this, you'll be fine. He at one point he brought over a couple gin and tonics and was like,
Oh no,
you
it's like
don't
you
you
don't
don't
want
have to take them,
right.
but if you need something to
They're right
relax
there,
you,
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it did calm the nerves a little bit. And I went out, and I mean, I had a great set. Played for 25, 30 minutes, and
And the
didn't
crowd loved
have
you, right?
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crowd
Yeah.
loved me. I mean,
Yeah.
because going into a situation like that, you're hoping, man, even though I play these songs, time after time in my, bedroom or wherever, it's like, man, what if I forget a lyric here, or what if I mess
Yeah.
up? And it's like, that again, that's a natural instinct, is that, you're a little intimidated at first. And of course, crowd that big, I'd never been in front of anything like that. So I was nervous, and went out there, and like I said, you get good at knowing how you work, and how you're able to do what you do best. And so I was able to do it, and no problem. And everybody seemed to love it and had a good time. So you really do learn to get comfortable in your own skin, even in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Totally agree. So right now we're gonna do a lightning round. I hope you don't mind, and then we'll have a few
Sure.
more questions, and then we'll let you go. So
Yeah.
question. Okay, so you could say the first thing that comes to your mind, or whatever you want. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what is one song, not yours though, that
Okay.
met you exactly where you were hearing that song?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I'm trying to think of a quick answer.
Oh, that semi lightning round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so there's a song by Brothers Osborne called Stay a Little Longer. And
I
I've
know it. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
came out 10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Old, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. No, that's a
Right. Right.
classic now, I guess.
Yeah.
And it spoke to me in a same sense like, there's another song by Ian Munster called Horses Are Faster.
Mhm.
And those two songs and specifically Horses Are Faster, it's like there's something ominous almost about him that has always stuck with me and like Stay a Little Longer. I was in high school at the time and it's kind of one of those songs that I feel like up until you're married and you have your spouse, it can speak to you because it's all about being in a situation where you don't know where it's going. You've got someone special that you really like, and you're in that moment of like, man, what's going to happen? Is this going to be it? Are they going to go home? Are they going to stick around for a while and, quite literally stay a little longer? And I thought, man, that's something that it's almost always showed up in situations since then, when you're
Right.
when you're meeting somebody new and wondering where if that relationship's going to develop. And then Horses Are Faster. I go back to Louisville, my hometown, sometimes, a decent amount. And then when I go back to Lexington, I'm on the road, quite a bit. And, still, even though you fly sometimes, cross country for gigs, you still drive a good amount. And so, when I'm in the car driving and I'm on these long drives, that's a song. It's always stuck with me because when I heard it, I was just driving on the highway, sun was setting, and it was talking about people you've known and how they're not in your life anymore, and maybe not necessarily dead, but friends and lovers that have come and gone, and where you are trying to contemplate what it all meant and how you're going to take that with you and the lessons you learned from it. And I've always thought, man, that's a song for a drive like that. It really came along just at a good time where you have a good amount of time to gather your thoughts and really ponder on what some of those relationships and friendships over time meant and why people that aren't with you still are with you mentally and spiritually in a sense. So those are two songs that I would say
Yeah.
when I was introduced to them, they not only worked for that moment in time, but
Yeah.
for all the years that have come since.
Awesome. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Lyrics or melody first?
It's a great question, and I have to be completely honest. It's not one or the other. There's a
Okay.
lot of times
Fair
where
enough.
it can come, yeah, one can come before the other. I mean, it's nice to have a good melody so you kind of know where the song's going, and when you go to write lyrics, you're able to have a better sense of how short a line should be. Should there be a rhyme here or whatever the structure is. But I've written songs where the lyrics came first, like Runaway Romeo, for example.
Yeah.
The whole thing just came pouring out, and I thought, wow, that sounds really good. And then there's other songs where the melody is definitely a tune that you're humming and it's constantly stuck in your head, and you're thinking, okay, I got to do something with this.
Got
So
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Nice. The emotion you write from most often.
That's a good one too. Uh, I typically try to write songs that I think people will it'll bring them up a little bit more. I
Right.
like to write songs that are high spirited or good spirited and they put people in a good place mentally and emotionally and they feel joy and happiness from them. But I will say, there's times where you are a little bit maybe not depressed or anything like
Right.
that, but you might be kind of thinking about something that is a situation that you can't change or one that there's a lingering thought of the way things happened or worked out, and it's a thought or process that, comes, I think, from overthinking a little bit, which I overthink all the time. So um,
Yeah.
it's
So
almost
everybody,
easy.
and so
Yeah.
does every musician I talk to now. Yeah. Which is
Oh
great
yeah.
because like I'm a perfectionist too, but it's some way of shape or fashion. I have to release it somehow. Someday.
Yeah.
You
And
can't
music's
keep it
great for
in.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Um, okay, so something music healed in you that nothing else could.
Ooh. So uh I think music, because it is like that universal language. My favorite quote about it was said by Brian Wilson, who actually died last year.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And when he was inducted with the Beach Boys into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he said, "Music is God's voice." So
Mm,
it's interesting you ask this because I think music is really good at healing. Um, there have been songs like when I was uh, when I was 16, my dad was in a really bad car wreck, and he for a week we didn't know if he was going to live. And I remember there's a song by U2 called "Bad," which is off their album The Unforgettable Fire, and it came out in 1984. Years before I was ever born. And that song, I've since learned that Bono, when they wrote it, he was saying that it was actually about the heroin epidemic going on in Dublin and Ireland at the time, and how there was a lot of people they knew that were really getting sucked into it, and
mm,
friends that were, unfortunately passing away from it. And the song, for me, it really resonated with me, and I think it helped me get through that time with my dad because at the time, they said we don't know if he's going to live. If he does live, he's never going to be able to walk and all this stuff. And the song talks about, if I could, I would help you walk away and I would help you break away from this, chain that you've
yeah.
got, stuck on you. And it was a song I listened to a lot in that period of time, and it's one that's stuck with me ever since. And I think, it really helped to keep me in a sense of hope and the idea that things, will get better. And, I mean, my dad not only lived, but he can walk today. So, he got through it, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, that's a song, "Bad" by U2, that helped me heal in a lot of ways.
Nice, nice. One more, and then I'll ask you the last question. Um, let's see which one do I wonder. What part of yourself do you protect now that you didn't protect when you were in the upcomings of the music, your music career?
I think my privacy a little bit. That's
Okay.
something, it's a catch-22 when I say that because you are constantly putting yourself out there, and I've definitely become more vulnerable and showing myself online and going into the stories that come from my music and showing a little bit more of me and the way I promote myself. But in terms of like being able to protect my privacy, that there's a like Sandy Koufax, for example, who was a legendary baseball player.
Yeah.
Um, I learned recently that he was very protective of his privacy, and he would move, every few years, like all across, America, just to be able to have that place like a sanctuary where no one would bother him.
Yeah.
Fans, they might know him or they might, ask for autographs and stuff, but he was protective of like, hey, I want to keep my own life to myself. And I think that's something that I've learned over the years in doing this, that there are times where you got to know when to walk away and
Yeah.
focus on yourself
Absolutely.
and get
Yeah.
yourself out of the limelight a little bit. And my dad's a little bit more extroverted. My mom's a little more introverted. So I got a
Mm,
good mix of that growing up and seeing how they are with it and protecting their own privacy and how much they are in the
yeah.
public eye and reveal to people. So for me, I think that's something I've become really good at is protecting my privacy.
I will 150,000% agree with you on that one because I'm learning that too, you know,
Right. Yeah.
because it's like the more people who know your business and everything, the more enemies you invite in, and I think
Exactly.
you and me can't do that, We need
Right. Yeah.
positivity in our lives, and that's not, it's one thing that we can keep personal is our privacy. So
Absolutely.
you're right about that, Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's important to have that.
Totally, totally. Last question. Now, this might be hard, this might be easy. I don't know. Okay, first question I'm going to ask you is you're the first person who I'm asking this to. So this is like a trial run, okay? All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so,
I'm honored.
all right. All right, thank you. So what has music taught you about being human?
Ooh. It taught me that we're all connected through it. I mean, music, it really is a universal language, as I've said before. I like to think of it as God's voice, as Brian said.
Yeah.
I think, you go back to, for example, like yesterday or the day before, what day is it? 2 days ago, like
Tuesday.
Bad Bunny
Yeah.
performed. Yeah, 2 days ago, Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
there was some people that liked it, some people that didn't. But I can imagine that the majority of people that watch the game, they don't speak Spanish, and if they do, maybe I'm wrong. But I've had a few people talk about it over the last couple of days, and they said, I didn't really understand what he was singing, but I love the music. And I think that's the thing about music is it is humanizing, and that it does connect all of us, even if we speak different languages and we come from different cultures. You are able to really connect through a song or songs that really speak to you, whether it's because of the lyrics or if you can't understand the lyrics because of the feel of the music and the way it makes you feel. And uh, I think that's probably the most humanizing aspect is that it does connect us all in a way that maybe language or basic communication can't.
Right. Okay, so have you heard of the band The Who? HU?
Oh yeah, I love. Oh
Yeah,
wait,
dude.
yeah.
All right.
HU. Oh, I thought you
HU.
were talking.
The
Oh,
Who.
okay. I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah,
actually.
they're a Mongolian band, rock band.
Okay.
Yeah. And they did a cover song of Sad But True by Metallica, right?
Hmm.
They didn't sing it in English, they sang it in Mongolian. So I knew what they were saying, but at the same time, I didn't know what they were saying. But I didn't
Yeah,
care
yeah,
because I felt what they were feeling when I was hearing it. So you're right,
yeah,
absolutely
for sure.
100% correct,
Hmm.
and that's the beauty
Yeah,
of
for
music,
sure.
I think.
I think it is too. I think I
Yeah,
think that's the most beautiful aspect about music.
yeah, nice, nice. So before we let you go, we'll give you some shout outs here. You go to Lee Isaacs, ISAACS.com, and you can look at his video, photos, music, and he has a page on Radical,
Ly- Yeah, Lyradical. Yeah, L
Radical. I'm
Y R
sorry,
R
yeah,
A D I
yeah,
C A L. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's an interesting name.
yeah.
When I went to go make my
Radical.
own
It's
company.
awesome, but I
Yeah,
just had a hard time pronouncing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah.
and you are on Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
All right.
TikTok everywhere. Hmm.
TikTok. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this for me.
Yeah.
You've been awesome as a guest.
Thank you, James. I mean, I
Yeah,
appreciate the invite, and it was wonderful talking to you.
of
Yeah.
course, of course. Come back anytime. Okay.
Thank you, man. I
All
appreciate
right.
that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And with that said, everybody, thank you for listening and watching this episode. And always remember, when words fail, music speaks. Bye, guys.
Yes, sir.